3026. Before a person holding a private pilot certificate may act as pilot in command of a high-performance airplane, that person must have A. Passed a flight test in that airplane from an FAA inspector. B. An endorsement in that person's logbook that he or she is competent to act as pilot in command. C. Received ground and flight instruction from an authorized flight instructor who then endorses that person's logbook. The correct answer is C. Before a person holding a private pilot certificate may act as pilot in command of a high-performance airplane, they must receive both ground and flight instruction from an authorized flight instructor. The flight instructor will assess the pilot's competency and provide the necessary training to safely operate a high-performance aircraft. Once the instructor is satisfied with the pilot's proficiency, they will endorse the pilot's logbook, indicating that they are competent to act as pilot in command of a high-performance airplane. This endorsement serves as evidence that the pilot has received the required training and is qualified to operate high-performance aircraft. It is an important step to ensure the pilot's readiness and safety when flying high-performance airplanes. 3027. In order to act as pilot in command of a high-performance airplane, a pilot must have A. Made and logged 3 solo takeoffs and landings in a high-performance airplane. B. Passed a flight test in a high-performance airplane. C. Received and logged ground and flight instruction in an airplane that has more than 200 horsepower. The correct answer is C. To act as pilot in command of a high-performance airplane, a pilot must receive specific training and instruction in that type of aircraft. This includes both ground instruction and flight instruction. The ground instruction covers the systems, performance characteristics, and operational procedures specific to high-performance airplanes. The flight instruction focuses on the handling and operation of the aircraft, including takeoffs, landings, and maneuvering. Once the pilot has received the necessary training, they must log this instruction in their logbook as evidence of their qualification to fly high-performance airplanes. The training must be received in an airplane that has more than 200 horsepower, as defined by the FAA. 3036. A certificated private pilot may not act as pilot in command of an aircraft towing a glider unless there is entered in the pilot's logbook a minimum of A. 100 hours of pilot flight time in any aircraft that the pilot is using to tow a glider. B. 100 hours of pilot in command time in the aircraft category, class, and type, if required, that the pilot is using to tow a glider. C. 200 hours of pilot in command time in the aircraft category, class, and type, if required, that the pilot is using to tow a glider. The correct answer is B. According to FAA regulations, a certificated private pilot is allowed to act as pilot in command of an aircraft towing a glider if certain requirements are met. One of these requirements is the minimum flight experience in the specific aircraft category, class, and type used for towing the glider. To act as pilot in command of an aircraft towing a glider, the private pilot must have a minimum of 100 hours of pilot in command time in the aircraft category, class, and type, if required. This means that the pilot must have accumulated 100 hours of flight time as the sole manipulator of the controls in that specific type of aircraft. 3037. To act as pilot in command of an aircraft towing a glider, a pilot is required to have made within the preceding 24 months A. At least 3 flights as observer in a glider being towed by an aircraft. B. At least 3 flights in a powered glider. C. At least 3 actual or simulated glider tows while accompanied by a qualified pilot. The correct answer is C. To act as the pilot in command of an aircraft towing a glider, a pilot is required to have recent experience in glider tows. According to FAA regulations, within the preceding 24 months, the pilot must have completed at least 3 actual or simulated glider tows while accompanied by a qualified pilot. These tows can be performed in an aircraft specifically designed for glider towing or in a powered aircraft capable of towing gliders. The purpose of this requirement is to ensure that the pilot has practical experience and proficiency in the procedures and techniques involved in towing a glider. By completing the required number of glider tows under the supervision of a qualified pilot, the pilot can demonstrate their competence and familiarity with the towing operations. 3035. If a certificated pilot changes permanent mailing address and fails to notify the FAA Airmen Certification Branch of the new address, the pilot is entitled to exercise the privileges of the pilot certificate for a period of only A. 30 days after the date of the move, B. 60 days after the date of the move, C. 90 days after the date of the move. The correct answer is A. According to FAA regulations, if a certificated pilot changes their permanent mailing address and fails to notify the FAA Airmen Certification Branch of the new address, they are entitled to exercise the privileges of their pilot certificate for a period of 30 days after the date of the move. It is the responsibility of the pilot to promptly notify the FAA of any address change to ensure accurate record keeping and communication. It is important for pilots to keep their contact information up to date with the FAA to ensure the timely receipt of important notifications, such as medical certificate updates, pilot certificate renewals, and other aeronautical information. Failing to notify the FAA of a change of address within the specified time frame may result in delays or complications in the pilot's ability to exercise their privileges.